Yup, that's us. You're probably wondering how we ended up in this situation. Let me explain. Everything started when we moved to Korea on the end of August of 2022. I tried to film everything with the intention of making this channel a travel channel. My plan was to start uploading regularly on YouTube. But then, school started. To be honest, we were a bit naive and didn't realize how much time school would take up. During the first 6 months, it was pretty much Korean language school every day, followed by homework and exam preparation. I only managed to upload 2 YouTube videos during that time. After finishing language school, we finally had the freedom to do whatever we wanted. We were really excited for this break. Summer was around the corner, school was done, and we had some Korean skills to make life easier. But just when things seemed promising, everything started to go wrong. Now that we weren't students anymore, it also meant that we didn't have a student visa. So we decided to head to Japan for a while and then return on tourist visas to give ourselves some time to figure out our next move. Tabea went to Japan with her family from Switzerland, while I traveled separately with our friend Mari Carmen. We planned to meet up in Korea after our trip to continue our adventure. And that adventure never happened. In Japan, Tabea began feeling slightly unwell, which didn't seem too concerning at first, as it's common to experience such things while traveling. However, when we came back from Japan and we met in Korea again, she still kept feeling sick to the point of throwing up regularly. At this point, it's important to mention that Tabea has an autoimmune disease, something she was aware of long before our travels to Korea. So one of the first things she did after we moved there was to find a good hospital for regular health checkups, just to be safe. By chance, when she began feeling unwell, she received the results of some blood tests she had taken earlier. That same night, Tabea's urine was red. Not knowing what was happening, we rushed to the emergency center that same night. Once we got to the ER, they placed us in a waiting station where a bunch of nurses and doctors kept coming in, drawing blood, conducting various tests. Eventually, they even inserted a urinary catheter.
Ich sehe dich live, bisschen.
While all this was going on, we were completely unaware of the seriousness of the situation. In fact, we were so clueless that we genuinely thought that we'd only have to stay the night at the hospital and then the next day we'd still be able to go to our favorite party in Hongdae.
Stimmt. Das ist ein Schnäuzli. I just want to bra. Sehr unangenehm. Das ist so viel Action. Du musst das Ding hier füllen. Das ist verdammt gross, schau meine Hand. Bist du schock? Tabea. Hast du jetzt runtergeschissen?
After almost 11 hours, we still hadn't slept. They then moved us to a temporary ward with about 8 to 12 beds. They even gave me a foldable bed, which was nice.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done...
Kleines Update. Wenn du schläfst, siehst du aus in der Leiche.
Okay.
Sie ist so ein bisschen am Üben. Sie kotzt so viel. Unser Gesuchkörper ist immer mehr kotzig gefüllt. Du musst mal deine Krisen anschauen.
Okay.
So bleich.
When we arrived at the temporary ward, there was this elderly Korean woman who was there as a guardian for her sick husband. He looked extremely unwell and was crying in pain the whole time. When the nurses transferred Tabea onto her bed, the elderly woman approached Tabea and tucked her into her blanket. She was also the one who comforted me when I was crying while Tabea was away receiving her treatment. We were strangers, and she wasn't even sure if we spoke the same language, yet for some reason she still had the urge to ensure that we were okay. I can't recall exactly how long we ended up staying in that ward. After a couple of days, they confirmed that she had kidney failure and it was already very advanced. The challenge was that they couldn't pinpoint what caused the kidney failure, making it difficult to decide on the appropriate treatment. Her condition was worsening very fast, so the doctors worked hard to identify the cause to be able to start her treatment. Despite their efforts, they couldn't pinpoint the source and ultimately settled on a treatment plan based on the opinion of multiple specialists at the hospital. They basically couldn't wait any longer. There just wasn't enough time. Due to COVID-19 protocols, there was still a one guardian/visitor per person rule in place, which basically meant that only one person was allowed to be with the patient at a time. So I actually wasn't permitted to leave the hospital unless I underwent another COVID test, which of course I did not mind at all. I was grateful to be there for her. Her medical condition was scary, but so was the treatment itself. Given its strength, there were numerous risks, side effects and dangers to consider, which kept me worrying 24/7. Kidney failure can sometimes be reversible, but in severe cases like Tabea's, it may not recover, requiring lifelong dialysis or even a kidney transplant. A quick anatomy class: the human body usually has 2 kidneys. Technically, a person only needs 1 healthy kidney to survive. That's why kidney transplants are possible in the first place with alive humans. Tabea's kidney function was at 10%. Not 10% each kidney, 10% was the average of both of them together. With Tabea being so far away from home and the one guardian only policy in place, it made the most sense to fly her back to Switzerland. Now you might be wondering how someone so sick could manage a several-hour flight from Korea to Switzerland. Let me break it down for you. In Switzerland, we have something called Rega, which is essentially a non-profit air rescue organization. Long story short, Rega flew to Korea to transport Tabea from the hospital there back to Switzerland to continue treatment here. Some might think this sounds crazy and financially impossible, but it's also important to note that we are incredibly fortunate to come from a country where healthcare and medical insurance are accessible. I obviously wanted to go back to Switzerland with her too, so I cancelled our stays, packed both of our rooms and flew back to Switzerland a day after Tabea. Back in Switzerland, I wish I could say that treatment went smoothly, and it would have gone mostly well if only the allergic reaction to one of her medications didn't happen.
Do you ever wake up or do something and you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
But Tabea did recover. She recovered from the allergic reaction and she recovered from the kidney injury. She's still undergoing treatment, but she's doing really well. Her kidneys recovered almost fully and she was able to get off dialysis. It's been over a year now since all of this happened. Since Tabea is still undergoing treatment and can't travel right now, we decided to focus on work and moving from our small town to a new city. Since we can't travel to another country, we've been trying to make our everyday lives more exciting. We do miss Korea a lot. We obviously didn't want to leave, but it doesn't mean that we won't go back again. It's a bit sad to think that we had to leave just as we were starting to settle in. Korea truly has been one of the best experiences we've ever had. So, this is not a goodbye, but rather a see you soon, when things get a bit better.
Auf die auch weg. Muss ich hier drücken? Ja.